Heads or tails?
Tails?
He goes tails. It's heads. I'll receive. Kang is out. Paul is playing the role of the show moderator with all the questions. Paul, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
So Pat Fitzgerald was introduced as Michigan State's 27th head coach yesterday. Will he be able to turn things around quickly?
Okay, I don't think so, but that's okay. Fans should be patient. The portal is a quick fix for positions. I don't think it's a quick fix for teams. Now, every Michigan game, I get a 2-deep for both teams, and I highlight in blue the players on the 2-deep who are transfers. The team I highlighted the most this year was Purdue, who went winless in the Big Ten and had 52 transfers and a full class of freshmen, 82 new players. And they go winless in the Big Ten. The team I highlighted the least was Ohio State with 9. Now, it can be done when you come into a new program like Curt Cignetti, but he brought a sizable portion of a roster from his old team with him, which Fitzgerald doesn't have access to, and he brought guys from his conference. Texas Tech went big in the portal this year, but they added to an 8-5 team. Michigan State went 1-8 with 6 double-digit losses. And with this portal, and the portal players, there are guys that can make a difference, but most portal players are there because they weren't getting playing time at their previous school. And the really good ones, everybody wants. It's okay. I don't expect it to be a quick fix. People should be patient with Pat Fitzgerald. He's a good coach.
I think there will be a quick turnaround. I think that you've got the alignment between the president, the athletic director, and the head coach, which was what Pat Fitzgerald talked about yesterday, and it seemed pretty harmonious with that triumvirate yesterday. They've got the backing of the coffers for NIL. I think they're set up for that. And his dynamic personality is going to retain a ton of players at Michigan State. Guys that may have thought about leaving. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, Pat Fitzgerald's here? Well, I just talked to him. He's pretty awesome. I think I'm going to be able to hang on to a lot of those players and important players. Like, the most important one will be the quarterback, Alessio Milivojevic, and I think he's going to stay. And if he stays, that's huge. And then what Michigan State did this year, not good, right? 4 wins. They should have won 6. With competent coaching, they would have at least won 6. So for me, the quick turnaround is, can you get to a bowl game next year? And I think they can. We'll see what happens in the next couple days with the signing period in college and with the high school kids coming out. But it looks like they're able to hang on to a lot of this recruiting class, and then you get into recruiting in the portal, which would be interesting. But I have high hopes for Pat Fitzgerald in year 1.
I don't know how quickly he can turn things around, but I do think it's a good marriage between the two parties, because I think Michigan needs someone that could bring stability, that knows the landscape of the Big Ten, whereas Jonathan Smith was kind of walking in blind. And for Pat
Michigan
Fitzgerald,
State needs that.
Yes, and for Pat Fitzgerald, he's really needs like a place to like re-establish himself as a head coach, because he's been out of the game for a bit now because of the scandal at Northwestern. Call your shot on the Big Ten championship game between Indiana and undefeated Ohio State.
Okay, I'm rooting for Indiana, but I think the Buckeyes win. I think they just have more star power when all is said and done. It's on both sides of the ball. I think IU is going to fight. It's going to be a great game to watch. Curt Cignetti is a great coach. He's going to have his team ready to go. Those guys aren't intimidated by anything. And yet, when all is said and done, there's just too many stars on the defensive side of the ball for Ohio State. And there are too many people that you have to account for on the offensive side for Ohio State. But I think it's going to be a closer game than people might think.
Ohio State. That's it. I think Ohio State's winning that game.
You got nothing
else? Not much of what you said, but Ohio State.
Mendoza's had a great year, but he's never seen a defense like Ohio State's going to throw at him. I think Ohio State's going to win by double digits. This is the 15th year the Big Ten title game's been held in Indianapolis. Is it about time the conference moves it around?
So yes and no. My first thought was yes. Yes, we can get it in Detroit. But I realized the first thing the Big Ten would do is move it to L.A. And then they go to Vegas, and then they go to Seattle, and they'll go to all these new places to try and make them feel like they're part of the Big Ten. And Indianapolis is a great host city. So the idea that Detroit could get involved and maybe get the Big Ten title game once a decade or once every 6 years or whatever it might be, we could do it. But Indy's so great. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, I don't want it to be in L.A. or Vegas or anything like that. Let's just leave it at Indy. It's drivable for all of us here. selfish reasons, but yeah, leave it at Indy.
No, I wanted to travel. I think we got a great traveling road show for this game, whether it's in Detroit or Minnesota or in Los Angeles. Having the Big Ten championship game played at the Rose Bowl, because the Rose Bowl doesn't mean anything anymore. It would for the Big Ten championship. It was all about the Big Ten back in the day, so why not make it popular again? You brought up Vegas. I wasn't even thinking of Vegas. It's not really the Big Ten landscape, but I'll take it. I like having the show on the road. I like having with the bowl season not meaning as much. It's all about the college football playoff. So now it's just all about the college football playoff or about the Big Ten championship game. So why not make it a place to go, to a destiny? I like that it's in Indy. Indy's a great place to have it. It's been to a Super Bowl there, and it was awesome. I know they can handle the Big Ten championship game. They've been doing it forever. That's great too. But allowing other cities to host, I think makes sense.
I kind of like the idea of just leaving it in Indianapolis because, like Doug said, they would move it around. It would be in L.A. first. It would never come anywhere near Detroit for years. And they might even hold one in Giants and Jet Stadium because it's in New Jersey, and that's near Rutgers. So it's like, yeah, I'd rather just leave it in Indianapolis because I think that's more Big Ten country, and it just feels more like a Big Ten championship location. So Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss for LSU. Will the Rebels win a game in the CFP without him?
Yeah. Out of spite, they're going to win a game. Plus, Charlie Weiss Jr. is going to be, he's been given permission by Lane Kiffin to coach alongside Pete Golding, the new head coach over there at Ole Miss. So they've got the band back together. Defense coordinator, offensive coordinator. The only thing that's not there is Lane Kiffin, and I think that those kids are going to be inspired to play because he's not there. I think it's going to help galvanize that team. They're going to shoot up in the rankings. Where are they, 6th now? So they're likely to host a game. I think they're going to win at least one game.
They're going to host a game, and their opponent at this point is aligned to be either Virginia or Tulane, depending on who wins those conferences. And yeah, they can beat those teams. In fact, I would expect them to beat those teams, and they likely will host. So the answer to my question is yes.
I'm really hoping they go on a run and win the national title because I think it would be hilarious if Weiss Jr. has a national title under his belt as he goes to be an offensive coordinator somewhere. That would be hilarious that he has more on his resume than Lane Kiffin does, who he's going to be his OC for. So Kalani Sitake, who's Penn State's number one target, will get a big raise and stay at BYU. Other coaches are being snatched up. Call it now. Who will be Penn State's next head coach?
Well, with breaking news this morning that Brian Hartline is going to USF, are they going to try and pilfer Manny Diaz and get him back from Duke? Maybe. I'm going to go Brian Daboll. At this point, I'm throwing darts at a dartboard. I don't know what happened there. I think Penn State might become example number one. If you have a punitive fire, you're mad at somebody and you let him go and you have no plan, or they've had plenty of time. I don't know how this happened. Gator, what do you think's going to happen at Penn State?
Well, if you just hang on a second, because
you're still Googling names.
It is ridiculous what I'm trying to come up with here. I have no idea what is going to happen. I mean, when I started to sit down and think about these questions, the first name that came up was Brian Hartline. Then you're like, hey, Brian Hartline's going to South Florida. I'm like, what? Well, delete. And then I'm thinking Jeff Brom, but I can't even get him confused with his brother Brian Brom. And then Jeff Brom has been at Louisville for, he played there. He's from Louisville. Now he's coaching there. Why would he want to leave? I guess Penn State, sure, but why not just stay there and be happy? I thought about Brian Daboll. That was the other name I was going to throw down there. And I'm like, he failed miserably with the Giants. What else? And I'm coming up with a different name.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to go with Joe Brady, the former passing game coordinator, wide receivers coach at LSU that did such a great job there with Joe Burrow and company. Moved on to become an offensive coordinator in the National Football League. Was a quarterbacks coach in the NFL. He's been with Buffalo for a while. Now he's still there as an offensive coordinator. Joe Brady will take over as head coach of Penn State. I have no idea.
With conviction-ish.
I cannot believe that Penn State has put themselves in this position. I think it's hysterical. Penn State, who got rid of their coach well before everybody else did, with one other exception, and they're just sitting back like they're the Cheshire Cat, oh yeah, we got our guy. Hold on, we're going to be fine. We're Penn State. We can get anybody we want. and they've been shot down. They got beat by BYU for Sataki. They passed the no heart line. They didn't jump on the Fitzgerald train. What are they doing? Hysterical. I love it.
I kind of feel like interim coach Terry Smith's going to get the label removed and be the head coach for one more year, and then they're going to enter the coaching search in 2026, 2027.
You might be right.
You might be right, and they probably should say that real soon because the fax machines are working this morning, Doug.
Yeah.
The fax machines.
All right, so Notre Dame hangs on to the last at-large playoff spot ahead of number 11 BYU and number 12 Miami, who beat Notre Dame. Did the committee get that right?
This is so tough. I think they have it right with Notre Dame ahead of Miami. Miami beat Notre Dame to start this season narrowly by just a field goal, and I know Miami's saying, we're playing better football now than we ever have. Well, you lost to Louisville and SMU along the way, so maybe not necessarily playing better than you ever have. And Notre Dame went on a run after starting the season 0-2 because they lost to Miami and Texas A&M. So their two losses are pretty good. Miami's losses are not. Sorry, Paul, I know you're a Miami guy. But the BYU part is interesting because BYU just continues to win. They've got, one loss on the record? I feel like BYU should probably be ahead of Notre Dame, but it comes down to schedules and who you've played and more importantly, that you haven't played.
Well, BYU has the strongest strength of schedule, those three teams. So BYU deserves the 10 spot. The thing is, BYU is going to play Texas Tech in the Big 12 title game, and if they lose it, they're out.
If they lose, they should be out.
Yeah, and now you got Miami and Notre Dame next to each other in the standings. And if two teams are next to each other that played each other, how can you possibly take the one who lost over the one who won if they're ranked right next to each other? So I don't know if there's anything that does more damage to undermine a process than this TV show every week. They should cancel that show. Did they get it right? No, but anyway.
I don't think they got it right either because I think Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame because they beat Notre Dame. But I'll say this, Gator. I don't think Notre Dame or Miami should make the CFP because I don't think either of them actually deserve playing for a national title.
It would be special if neither went. I'd like that.
All right, last one. Who will you root for to win the national title?
I'm going to stick with my original bold-ass prediction. Texas Tech over Texas A&M. I got no rooting interest this year, so I'll just take Texas Tech because that was my bold-ass prediction back in October. Texas Tech over Texas A&M for the national championship.
I'm rooting for Indiana. I want the Big Ten to win another national championship. That would be great. And for Indiana to do it would be amazing. What Cignetti has done in 2 seasons is nothing short of astonishing what he has done. If he can validate it with the win over Ohio State on Saturday night, that'd be fantastic. But to go all the way, I'm here for it. Let's go Hoosiers.
If Miami gets in, I'm rooting for them. If they're not, I'm with Gator. I'm rooting for Indiana. I want to see Mendoza hoist the trophy and then go and be a number 1 overall pick in the draft.
There you go. And that concludes the college football blitz thingy.